What's good, YouTube? I go by the name of Q. If you're unfamiliar, if you are familiar, shout out to you. Welcome back to the channel. Is your woman an asset or a liability? Serious question. Is your woman an asset or a liability? And that's a question I had to ask myself. That's a question I asked myself whenever I chose to deal with a woman on an exclusive basis, right? Now, this video ties into the topic of finance, right? We're talking about assets and liabilities, but I want to go back to my origin story. A lot of people ask me how I got started on my financial journey to begin with, and I've made a video about this in the past. It's my most popular video. I'll leave a link in the cards for you to go check that out if you haven't checked it out already, so I won't go too deep here. But in a nutshell, just to summarize, my girlfriend yelled at me. That's exactly how it started. Simple as that. In 2016, my then girlfriend, now fiance, yelled at me. So let me break this down. In 2016, I was making $18,000 per year. 18K. That was my income level. And Kara and I decided to move in together, right? I moved out of my parents' house. She moved out of her parents' house. We got an apartment together in the Avondale area of Chicago. And where this leads to is on 18K, I was operating as if I still lived at my pop's house. So I didn't think about the extra bills we had. I didn't think about the rent. I didn't think about the groceries. I didn't think about any of that. I just didn't, for whatever reason. I just thought like I could live my same exact lifestyle, but of course that wasn't the case. She was far more mature than me at the time, and I had to bump my head. I literally had to bump my head, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Did it feel good when she was yelling at me and I'm going through all of that? Not at all. Not at all, but I don't blame her. When my phone was getting cut off every other month and I'm running to her for that extra $100, when I'm coming up short on the rent and I'm running to her for the extra $300+ for months on end before I got my act together, when my car broke down, I didn't have a bank account at the time, so I'm running to her to pay for Ubers for me to get to work. Who's not going to be upset about that? Who's not going to be upset and frustrated about that? So she let me know. She let me know, and I respect her for it. It was frustrating to me as a man to have to go to her for that, but for whatever reason, I didn't feel it at the time. For whatever reason, she put up with it for months on end until she finally let me know, like, look, I'm not your personal bank. I'm not an ATM. I'm not your emergency fund. We're not doing that, right? We're definitely not doing that. But what are we doing? You let me know. Like, the ball is in your court. It's a wrap for all of that. Like, what are we doing here? Like, she drew that line. She drew that line in the sand, and like I said, I respect her for it, but that was a spark I needed. That was a spark I needed. Her being a behavioral analyst that she is, she understood that she was enabling me. She was enabling my bad behavior, and you know for a fact, if you've ever enabled someone, the more you enable them, the worse it gets. The worse it gets, and she understood that, so she nipped it in the bud. And had she not nipped it in the bud, ain't no telling where it would have went. Ain't no telling where it would have went. I probably wouldn't have never seen the error in my ways, and she probably would have just been miserable dealing with my nonsense. Until she left, of course, because I know for a fact she wasn't going to stick around too much longer because she had vocalized that. But that's what I mean by, is your woman an asset? Those few moments, though they were frustrating, all of the nagging and the yapping, it was frustrating and annoying to hear. It even angered me at times. Like, I was mad hearing it, but she was telling me the truth. And that's the funny thing about the truth is, it's never warm and fuzzy, but it's necessary, right? The truth is always going to leave a bitter taste in your mouth. I don't care who it is, and where you get the truth from doesn't matter. That's where the term "don't shoot the messenger" comes from, because sometimes when people tell you the truth, it's going to trigger you, and it's going to make you potentially hold the person telling you the truth in contempt, but it shouldn't be that way. And now I have the ability to separate the message from the messenger. It could be somebody I don't like at all. If they're telling me the truth, I'm going to take that truth and I'm going to apply it. If it resonates with me, then it is what it is, without me feeling some type of way about the person that's actually telling me that truth. Now, her yelling at me was just a spark. And most people will look at that as just nagging, right? And like I said, it is nagging. Like it was a lot of that I didn't want to hear at the time, yada yada yada. But at the end of the day, I look at it as inspiration. That nagging was inspiration for me to become the person that y'all see right now, right? It inspired me to do better. It made me want to do better because at the end of the day, women want security. That's what I do know. Women want security. And it's not all about finance, but in the world we live in, you need money to be secure, right? You need a roof over your head. You need a nice car to drive, whatever, a safe vehicle to drive. You need food on the table. That all comes in the form of security. With that being said, there's two other ways. There's two other ways that my woman was an asset and she actually helped me elevate financially. And the one way, if y'all know me, then y'all know Leah the LeSabre, my 2000 Buick LeSabre that I love so much that I take a lot of pride in. I bought that from her mom. Her mom sold me that car for $1,000, which was a steal. I still have it. It still spins like a top. That's my baby. The second way was the current job that I have. The job that I'm working in right now where I'm making the most money I've ever made in my life. I got that job through a referral from her uncle. So that in itself, those are two assets, all from her side. And it's not that I'm using her, but at the end of the day, I always talk about resourcefulness on this channel. And I do know that if you can't be used, you're useless. There's things on my side that she takes advantage of that helps her elevate, but we're in this together. So when you think about it, we're pooling our resources together, building from the ground up, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a very beautiful thing, but we're also holding each other accountable along the way. Now, I'm not a relationship coach. I'm not a relationship guru, none of that. I just know about my personal situation and my relationship with my fiance. I really don't try to get into anybody else's stuff because it gets messy. What you see on social media, what you see online, that's nothing compared to what goes on in real life. And that's what I want to bring with this video. I want to give people the open and honest truth about relationships, especially as adults. Like, it's work. It's real work. It's duty. It's responsibility. Yes, you have your moments of warm and fuzziness, right? You have those moments, but at the end of the day, and especially if you have kids, it's going to take a lot of work, and it's not for the faint of heart. Relationships are not for the faint of heart. I give my fiance a lot of praise and a lot of credit because she deserves it, right? She deserves it. I'm going to put that on full display. I have no shame about it at all. I actually take pride in it. I take a lot of pride in it. Like, I'm proud of who she is. I'm proud of what she's done for me. And I'll give myself credit at the same time because at the end of the day, I chose her. I chose her, and that's what it comes down to, because in most cases, the man is the one who initiates if we move forward or not, right? The man is the one who asks the woman out. If you want to move forward to marriage, the man is the one who has to get on that one knee and present that ring. And I chose her because I knew that she was going to hold me to the fire. It was something about her, right? It was something about her. I couldn't put a finger on it at the time, but I was just like, man, I need that. I need that in my life. Like every other, I need that. I need that. I need her. And that's what happened. So I'll go down another rabbit hole. I need y'all to follow me on this because this is going to get a little interesting. For the men out there who are dealing with women, something I will say, which is, I think, important to say, which is why I'm saying it. Women, feel free to chime in the comments if you have any opinion at all. But at the end of the day, who you choose to be with is more important than anything, especially on an exclusive level, right? So a brief backstory, I've been dating and dealing with women since the age of 16. 16 when I became sexually active. I'm now 32, so 16 years of that. But throughout that period, like, I've been with my fiance for 6 years, but throughout that period, I've been around the block, just to keep it PG. And while going around the block, I would say, I've had 5 exclusive relationships, right? And the 5 women that I were exclusive with, the ones that I asked out, the ones that I was with for a year plus, although I no longer deal with them, they're now all married with children. So that gives me perspective on the fact that I know how to choose properly. And all the ones I was just having fun with or just casual with, to say they're still out there being casual, though that might be their choice, but you have to know what you want for your life. Like, I knew what I wanted. I knew I wanted a family. I knew I wanted someone to come home to every single night. And I knew I wanted someone to build with and to make it to the end of life with. You don't want that individual being a liability. You want that individual to be an asset, but you have to be an asset as well. I'm going to say that again. You don't want that individual to be a liability. You want them to be an asset, but you have to be an asset yourself. I was a liability. I was a liability to my then girlfriend, now fiance, but now I'm a whole asset. I'm a whole asset. Assets attract assets in most cases. So if you become an asset first, more than likely that's what you'll attract. When me and my now fiance got together, it was, what do you call it, growing pains, I guess. We're smooth sailing now. Like, I couldn't be happier, honestly, but it was those growing pains in the beginning that you all have to work through. You have to talk about finance. You have to talk about goals. You have to talk about what you see for your future, whether you want kids, whether you want to retire early, whatever you want to do, you have to talk about those things. That's the whole point of this video. Women, like I said, feel free to chime in. Feel free to chime in. Like, are you an asset or a liability? You let me know in the comments. I just feel like it'll be a great debate. A great debate. It don't have to be a debate, actually. It could just be an open conversation, because that's what I'm here for. Open dialogue, understanding, and I'll make more videos on this in the future about, I guess, relationships and finance, because I have a lot of insight on that. So like this video if you like it. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Also follow me on IG. Q Makes It Happen on Instagram. Go show your boy some love. I go by the name of Q, and like I always say, if Q can make it happen, you can make it happen. I'll let y'all next video. Peace.